Good evening, you're watching Left, Right and Centre. I'm Nidhi Razdan. It's been exactly 1 month since the Prime Minister surprised the entire country with his announcement that the 1,000 and 500 rupee notes were being banned. The effect has been enormous and it's been across sectors. A month later, we are still dealing with a massive cash crunch, and the RBI has revised India's growth for this fiscal downwards from 7.6 to 7.1%. When the move was first announced, it had plenty of popular support despite all the problems. And even now, that may be the case. But with the Prime Minister's 50-day deadline fast approaching at the end of this month, is it still advantage Modi? Joining us on the program tonight, we have Union Minister Babul Supriyo here in the studio with us. Also with us, Kiran Majumdar-Shaw, who's joining us tonight from Bangalore. We have Mr. M.K. Venu, the founding editor of The Wire here, and we'll be joined by the Congress party shortly. Kiran Shaw, let me ask you your assessment first. I remember we did one of our very first shows on demonetization with you, in which you were largely welcoming of it. You felt that it was the right thing to do. A month later, do you still think that this was a smart move?
I still believe this is a very bold move. I still believe that this is a unique opportunity for us to basically leapfrog into digital payments. And let me tell you that, moves such as this will have unintended consequences. And obviously we are seeing the unintended consequences that, are being reported by all TV channels about the kind of pain points that people are facing, especially in rural India. But having said that, you're also seeing that by and large people are for this move. So I think we need to take advantage of the sentiments, and we need to really push on with this approach that the government has taken for digital payments. So although it's going to be difficult, but I really believe this is a transformational opportunity for India. It is also bringing a lot more people into the formal banking sector, which is extremely important for a country like India as it wants to move to the next level of economic development. Because it is only through this that you will actually be able to build a very transparent and system that provides access to capital to most people who are outside this banking system. So I personally believe that a lot of good things are happening, albeit with a lot of stress to the system. And as you can see, you've had a lot of reports of declining GDP growth. Definitely in the short term, we are going to face a lot of stress.
So you're clearly very optimistic.
Think in the medium to long term, India will be a huge beneficiary.
Okay, so you believe that going digital and getting more into the formal banking sector is important. Some of those points are important, M.K. Venu, and yet so is what Kiran Majumdar-Shaw called the unintended consequences and the stress to the system, as she put it. Where are we a month later, especially politically? Because again, there was a lot of popular support that was voiced among people when it was first announced, and you see that still continues. But is there a change in the sense we get from people? It's largely anecdotal at the moment, but do you sense a change at all?
See, Nidhi, to begin with, you mentioned RBI has cut the growth growth outlook by 0.5 percentage, but mind you, they've said they've not taken demonetization impact into account. That's a business as usual basis. So if they take that into account, there could be another 1.5-2 percentage point fall, and the pain is, Nidhi, going up by the day. There is no doubt about it. I agree that the first order emotional response was, in the initial days, people said, okay, the rich guys also are getting hit, so we are also suffering. The rich guy is suffering more. But the first order emotional response is now giving way to certain realities about job losses, about lack of cash, especially in the rural areas, informal sector. And I think that going forward, people will take make a more rational assessment. I think the pain is increasing, and I'm seeing that. And so politically, Nidhi, the Prime Minister wants national suffering to convert into a national renewal, as he says, Naya Bharat 2017 ke baad. But I'll still wait and see whether so much suffering, the truth of so much suffering is transcended by the people, and they still support Modi's program, because they also now want to see what is the impact of this. The Revenue Secretary yesterday said bulk of the cash is coming back into the system. So people will ask, so where is the black money? Second question is the more important. If the entire money is come back into the system, people will ask, political parties have cash officially, so who is fronting from them? How have they put money back into the banking system? All these questions will arise. Now the government is saying that they will try to get a fiscal surplus by taxing people. I want to see how will they tax people. Will they go after the small depositors first, or the big ones who are also, who also with the help of France have come into the system?
You don't agree with Kiran Majumdar-Shaw. You're saying the pain is increasing, and you see a shift in the position. Babul
That's
Supriyo,
because people are talking about the long run, Nidhi. But who has seen year and a half, 2 years, all these daily wages? Looking for 6 months survival, right?
So, Babul Supriyo, would you concede, now that we're a month after the announcement, that perhaps the government underestimated the kind of distress that this would cause? Certainly, you knew that there would be a disruption, but did you underestimate the distress in the short term?
Well, I loved what Kiranji just said. She used the term unintended distress that has been caused. If she probably used the word distress or something
unintended
else. Consequences, yes. I think it's the intention that really counts. I am not at all surprised by the kind of rhetoric or the kind of opposition or oppositionism that is being put forth by people who do not believe in this move. The point is that the believers in that, whether it is Modi ji or us who represent a certain frame of mind when you are trying to do this, is to constantly keep the confidence level high and let people understand that this was something that the country needed. Let me, instead of getting into rhetoric, I will give you a couple of facts. The amount of 100 rupee notes that we have in the market right now is 1.5 times more that we normally had, number one. Number two, the the money, the money that is getting back to the banks. So it is definitely not going to carve a sudden fall in interest rates and for home loans and car loans, but it will have a long term effect. Number one, these are what the economists are saying. When the bank has more cash, it's just logical. I don't need to even talk economics. When you have more cash, the pressure for you to put the cash back into the market.
But the question will be, if all the money is coming back into the system, where is the black money?
Well, if the black money, if the cash is coming back to the banks, don't you think there is a big pros in the entire procedure? I think, why are these small peasants facing the problems? Why are they suffering because of lack of cash? Because the owners, who obviously have bank accounts, do not want to pay them by check. They want to pay them by cash.
There are many people who don't have bank accounts in this country. That's also a reality.
See, that's what we are trying. We are trying to get Jandan. We have a Mamata Banerjee who is even opposing the direct benefit transfer, because we are trying to take the middleman away from the system. In 94, no one knew what a mobile phone is. Today, a smartphone is an extension of your right hand or left hand. So things has to change. A bold move like that will bring a lot of unintended consequences. But let's understand that the intention was very right. It is still right, and for us, we have to face this opposition and try to make people believe that in the long run the country is definitely going to be benefit for it, and that is being said by everyone, even by China.
So clearly the BJP and the government still believes that this was the right thing to do, and this is the right thing to pursue even now. Kiran Shaw, just give me a moment. I just want to come to Ajoy Kumar of the Congress party. Ajoy Kumar, I'm a little confused about what exactly the opposition wants to do in parliament. Today we saw the president actually almost throw up his hands in frustration and say, for God's sake, just do your job in parliament. You're meant to transact business in parliament. Now, do you want a discussion or don't you? If you want a discussion, why isn't it happening? The Prime Minister says he's ready to speak. The opposition, the BJP says it's ready to have a debate. We want to hear what everyone has to say. What do you want? What does the Congress want?
Before that, Nidhi, I'll definitely answer your question. Excuse me. But when Kiranji was saying about the objectives are good, it's very interesting. The Prime Minister said black money, terrorism and counterfeit coins. Counterfeit notes, and suddenly the goalposts are suddenly the BJP and everybody else is speaking about cashless economy. It was never in the agenda. It's like running a company and saying profit is the motive and suddenly saying customer satisfaction. What is this? The Prime Minister didn't know, and suddenly Mr. Supriyo and the minister and everybody is talking about cashless economy. So all black money was a false thing, counterfeit notes were a false thing, terrorism was a false thing, and so by the way, rest of India, by the way, I didn't have any plan. Now I am come with a cashless economy story, another jumla, and 125 crores people will suffer. It's a collateral damage, and by the way, unintended consequence for the most awful preparation. And then they want us to say that, oh, by the way, our intentions are good, but sorry, we are thoroughly incompetent, and then you should stand by it. And then and the minister says that 100 rupee notes have increased by 1.5 times. By the way, sir, that 3.5 lakh crores is in the system, and you sucked out 15 lakh crores. So it's only 30%, less than 20% in the system still. And the daily wage labor, which is 30% of the workforce of this country, sorry, gets cash. But no, that's an unintended consequence. He should suffer for 60 days. There is no problem about it. And then banks will have cash, so banks will give you loans cheaply. How ridiculous. Banks will have to give loans. Somebody has to take loan. Otherwise, the banks will sink because they will have to pay interest on those deposits. So, who is speaking in this government, Nidhi? What is this
I
economics?
take your point, but I do want to understand why we're not able to have a debate in Parliament on this, because that is also very important.
Yeah,
Ajay, what's going on in why?
Because
if you say you want to debate,
I have answers
the
to all of that.
BJP, yeah, I'll come to you on that. The
Because,
BJP
Nidhi,
says
let me
it's
answer.
ready to speak. The PM is ready to speak. So I'm
Because,
just,
Nidhi,
why isn't it happening? Yeah.
I have answered
Yeah.
to all of that.
Ajay
but-
Kumar, why isn't the debate
single
happening?
arrogance of this government is that they, one sec, I would request the minister, I'll just take a third.
Yeah.
We have never in the history of India have you seen such an arrogant government. The Prime Minister will speak, he will cry in Goa, he will laugh in Japan, but he doesn't have the time to attend Parliament and sit and answer it. So and then they're fighting over rules. Rule number 50, 183, 193. They have this huge majority. Why is a majority of the opposition party on one side requesting the Prime Minister to be present and start the debate? We have said it that let him come on Friday tomorrow at 11 a.m. at
But
the
I
Lok
have to
Sabha.
ask, why does he
the
have to
debate
sit
will
there
start.
throughout the
That
entire
has been
debate?
the demand of the opposition.
He can reply to the debate. He can
Because-
he can speak.
because-
But does he
because-
have to sit there throughout? I mean, why impose that precondition? Let everybody speak and then hear
because-
what he has to say.
Because Nidhi, this has been the single most dangerous action led by a single individual and 4 or 5 people as his counsel, which has unleashed this, terror on the people of India. So he needs to sit there. He's the man who's driving it. And he needs to hear what everybody has to say. And is it too much for a Prime Minister to sit through a Lok Sabha session for 8 to 9 hours, 3 days or 4 days? I don't think so.
Let me ask
If
Kiran
80
Majumdar
people
Shaw
have
this
died on
question.
the waiting in the ATM, I think the Prime Minister definitely has a sensitivity to sit through.
Kiran
for
Shaw,
3 days.
one second. I
And
just
I'm
want to
sure the
ask Kiran
opposition
Shaw.
will come around the fact that they will.
Okay, Kiran Shaw, would you like to hear the Prime Minister speak on this in Parliament? I mean, do you think it's very important for him to speak now in the Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha on this?
Well, I certainly think the Prime Minister needs to share his thoughts on this matter, because it's important that people understand that there were multiple objectives of demonetization. And I certainly, do share, Mr. Ajay Kumar's views that yes, I think there has been a lack of full preparedness in dealing with these things. That's why I keep calling it unintended consequences. But I don't agree with him that the only motive was corruption or the only motive was counterfeit money. I think there were multiple motives, certainly corruption, counterfeit money, and others have been tackled through this demonetization. Let's not get away from that. I think we have seen an impact on many of these fronts. But yes, I think the biggest benefit for this country is going to be getting to a digital payment, cashless economy. I mean, less cash. I don't want to call it cashless.
No.
Because
But
India
just
cannot
today, there was a
sustain
raid in
itself
Chennai
and grow to the
where
next level of
70
economic
crores
development
But
if
today
it
there was
does
a raid
not
in
get
Chennai,
to a
Kiran Shaw,
digital
where 70
economy.
crores were recovered in the new notes. So, there will be question marks raised about, how much
Yeah.
it's really even tackling this whole issue of corruption.
No, but the fact is you can actually at least now still catch all these people who are indulging in these corrupt practices with the new notes. That also seems to have been easier to do than before. So corruption is being tackled, and of course maybe you can argue by saying that the amount of cash in black money is less than what it was. But what about counterfeit money? We have no clue about how much that was.